Okay, good morning. Um, so this is a pretty big topic when it comes to doshas. And just quickly, doshas are basically a constitution. All of us have a main dosha with minors. Some people are actually equal in all areas, but those are few and far between, and it doesn't make them better humans. It just means that they have more balance across the board at the time when they did the test. So basically, Ayurveda introduced this notion of doshas. It is one of the world's oldest holistic medical systems. And I'll explain that by saying our Western system of medicine, allopathic medicine, is very specific oriented. So if you have a stomach ailment, they'll just look at your stomach, and see what the problem is in your stomach. They may not look at your mental, emotional, physical, psychological constitution, whereas Ayurveda takes in the whole person. And by doing these tests, you start to think about, well, it's true, if I don't eat or I'm hungry, I might be grumpy. Or I just don't feel like going to yoga class. I just don't feel like exercising. And as my yoga teacher would say, don't trust your feelings, examine them. Now, and you know what, we're human. So this is not about, as I said in my notes, this isn't about becoming upset with yourself. This is really just trying to get to know yourself. We seem a lot more interested, including myself, in knowing other people's faults and shortcomings, but I don't really want to look at my own. I get that. So we always need to keep a sense of humor. So basically, I just want to go over, and this is where I said that this is going to speak to everyone because we all have parts of every single dosha. So basically, the 5 elements that make up the earth, which are water, fire, earth, space, and air, are combined in different ways to create the 3 doshas. So for people who are mostly Vata, so that's the air and space, in other words, ether, they tend to be thinner in their bodies. They tend to have curly hair. They tend to be very creative. They can be very active, like air, like sometimes a lack of feeling grounded, just a little spacey, a little too busy, a little... That can be me sometimes, that maybe can be you sometimes, right? We're a little spacey, we're a little bit ungrounded, and we're just flying madly off in all directions. Then there's Pitta, and Pitta elements, and that's me, is water and mostly fire. So we have a very strong digestion. We are known to be impatient. In fact, we can have a little bit of too much aggression or too in people's faces. I'm paraphrasing these things because I know me a little bit. And I know that for some people, I'm too much. And in fact, if I didn't know me, I might be too much for me. But I'm stuck with me. Like truly, I get it. So, and then there's Vata. And I almost want to bow to Vata. So Vata types are strong bones, they're a heavier build, they're lethargic, a little slow to move, sometimes just downright lazy. But not really. It's their constitution to be slow moving. But the thing about Vata, and some of you maybe have good friends that are Vata, maybe you're married to Vata people, I don't know. But they're very loyal, they're slow to anger, they're very calm, they're tech guys what are you shaking your head at?
Not that.
Oh, pardon me, Kapha.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Said that, yeah.
Take that back, thank you. Kapha people are that heavy set, very grounded, loyal, calm. They're almost the cohesive, like they hold everything together. And you've seen this with Tech Guy. I can be flying off madly in all directions, freaking out, and he's just, doing his thing. So, and there are times when we have that ability too, right? And maybe we'd like to develop more of one of those abilities. If you're an artist, Vata is your deal. Like you want to be creative and being able to think outside of the box. And there are lots of times we need to be Vata. There are other times we need to be more Pitta, more, take charge. Like there's a situation where you need to make up your mind and get something done. You can't be sitting around, well, let me think about it. No, you're going to do something. So, and then there's the Kapha who's, okay, let's just be calm, breathe. So in yoga, the way we exercise, because Vata people can be very jumpy and very active, they can ground themselves through sitting exercises. Pitta people being fiery and, they also benefit from earth. So from sitting postures. When we're sitting, we're more grounded. Whereas Kapha, that big bone, slow to move person who's calm, they actually need to stand up a little more and think about alignment because of those big bones, because of those strong bones. So we're going to practice today sun salutations, and as we go through the practice, we will figure out how I can remind you of these 3 different doshas, which again can be affected by diet, and I'll talk about that if we have time later. So let's just do a little bit of warming up as usual. So let's come on to all fours. And this will be a lot of information today, so just remember, whatever really speaks to you, if you can even walk away with one notion to create a little more balance and understanding that who we are is all part of the 5 elements. So placing your hands underneath your shoulders with your fingers spread wide apart, your knees are underneath your hips and you're lengthening. And I just want you to, almost like wagging the tail. So we're just bending the body sideways, and this is beneficial for Vata. So any kind of bending of the spine from side to side and twists are helpful for Vata, that light, airy part of ourselves. Just moving some of the energy and grounding it through the floor. And then pressing, coming back to neutral. On an exhale, round your spine, pull your bellies in, tuck your chin, dropping your tail. And on an inhale, curl your toes under. Lengthen through your core by drawing your heart center forward, lifting up through your head, eyes rolling up. Exhale, flatten the tops of your feet, pull your bellies in, tuck your chin, drop your tail. Inhale, hollow out your lower back, draw your heart center forward. And exhale, bellies in. Inhale, hollow out your lower back, draw your heart center forward. And one more round, flatten the tops of your feet on an exhale. Curl your toes under on an inhale. And coming into neutral, balance postures. They are balancing pretty much for all of your doshas. So bird dog pose. Extend your left leg straight out behind you and reach your right arm straight out in front of you. Reaching and stretching, holding, balancing. Balance requires focus. Focus is good for all 3 doshas. There are aspects of yoga that serve to balance all of the doshas. Reaching and stretching, exhale and releasing. Inhale, opposite leg and arm, reaching and stretching. Be sure to be pressing all 5 fingers of the hand that is grounding you, and breathe, engaging your core to protect your lower back. One more breath in to stretch, exhale, and releasing. And then let's lift the left arm up, reach up, stretch up, and thread the needle, twisting, releasing your shoulder and the side of your face onto the floor. Tippy toe the fingers, if you wish, of the other hand reaching out in front. Awakening the spine, all of the nerves that travel through the spinal column. Stretching it out. Draw the hand in front, back, and press up. Coming back onto all fours, inhale, sweep the right arm up, exhale, thread the needle, lowering your right shoulder and the side of your face, and then if you wish, tippy-toe the fingers of the left hand straight out in front, and breathe into your side and your back ribs. So there are breathing exercises as well that address, and perhaps the easiest way to balance a dosha that may be out of balance. And we will go through those in a moment. And then draw the hand in front, back, and then take your knees wide apart. Big toes touch, flatten the tops of your feet. Send your hips back towards your heels. Releasing your torso between your thighs, stretching your arms out in front or adding height if you need to rest your forehead on your arms. Again, breathing into your side and back ribs. Inhale, come on up, and then grab your cushion, and we're going to do one breathing exercise to start with. Kapha, which is called shining skull, excellent for Kapha. So this is to create energy, because we're going to move into sun salutations in a moment. Kapha, the emphasis on is just on your exhalation. Your inhalation is passive. And so you're basically using your diaphragm. You're going to relax your belly. If you need a tissue, because you will be blowing air out through your nose, so you could pass this around if anybody requires a tissue. In fact, even if you don't think so, maybe you will. Okay, just pass it around if you like. Sorry. Well, people at home will see. Where'd she go? Okay, Kapha is a forceful exhalation. So you breathe in normally, and it's through the nose. Through the nose. So you inhale. So you're basically drawing your abdomen in, but you're totally activating your diaphragm. And this is to create energy. So if you're feeling a little lethargic and you're thinking, well, I still got to get on with my day, this is a great breathing exercise. And if you're uncomfortable sitting in cross-legged pose, just send your legs out in front. But the idea is definitely in breathing exercises, keep your spine long, reach up through the crown of your heads. And if you are sitting on something, bring your sits bones to the edge of the cushion. If you're just perching on top, it doesn't help. If you bring yourself to the edge of what you're sitting on, this kind of opens up your hips, rolls your pelvis forward so you can sit up nice and tall. So inhaling and begin. And that will do. And just breathe normally for a moment. We'll just do this one more time. So it's called Kapalabhati with a K. This is to activate energy, to really kind of enliven the body. We all know alternate nostril breathing, where you block one side and you block the other side, Nadi Shodhanan. We won't do that today because you know this one, and this is for Vata. So when we're feeling like we're flying off the handle and we're not grounded and we need to calm ourselves, good for Pitta too, when Pitta gets out of control. Okay, so once again, you're closing your eyes. Inhale and begin. Lower your shoulders if your shoulders are up. Excellent. And just while we're seated, so as I mentioned, for Vata, it's Nadi Shodhanam. We're not going to do it. This is a calming breath. But for Pitta, and Pitta also, the months of the year and even the times of the day, we all roll into aspects of Pitta, Vata, Kapha. You can't escape it. You can't just be one dosha. It doesn't work that way. We're all made out of earth, water, fire, air, and space. We all have those 5 elements, but it's the combination of these elements that create the dosha. So summer and Pitta are synonymous, whereas we're just coming out of Kapha, and Kapha is sort of when everything's sort of sleepy, dormant, right? Kapha. Vata will be fall, when things become active before they go back to sleep again. So Pitta is the season of summer, hot, 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 hot. Fire is the element for Pitta. And to a cooling breath, and even if you can't, and I'm not good at this, is rolling your tongue, like curling it. And some people can do this, it's a genetic thing. But you know what? Just by imagining you're doing this, and if you, so I'll just explain this to you because I can't do this and do it too, but if you curl your tongue and you inhale with a curled tongue, so inhale, and then close your mouth, lightly put your tongue on the roof of your mouth, and when you're ready, exhale through your nose. This is Sitali pranayama breathing. It's cooling. So on those really hot days, or when you're feeling so fired up inside about something, angry, whatever, and you need to cool yourself down, this is better than ice cream and no calories, okay? So just let's try this one more time. Sitali breathing, Sitalai, to cool yourself, to cool that fiery, element that's going on inside when need be, all right? So closing your eyes, sit up nice and tall, reach up through the crown of your head. Imagine when you're breathing in that you're breathing in through a curled, rolled tongue. Close your lips, place the tongue on the roof of your mouth, and when you need to exhale, do so through your nose. Okay. So that's just a very simple way of using pranayama, which remember is higher on the ladder of Ashtanga Yoga, of the physical, for creating an environment, internal environment, so that we can function better both inside and out. All righty. So remove your blocks for now. Curl your toes under, and let's just hang out a little bit in Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Keep your knees soft, and please let your head hang. Give it a little bit of a shake. Feel yourself rooted and grounded through the soles of your feet again. This addresses the Vata dosha, the dosha of air and space, the one that could be flying off madly in all directions. But sometimes this is important to be creative and to feel the wind in the air and run with joy. I mean, let's face it, children, very, very Vata. It's just that's natural for them to be that way. And there'll be some children too who prefer to be calm and sit at the base of a tree and read a book maybe, but for the most part. Okay, pressing your soles into the floor. Inhale, slowly roll up, making your head the last thing to come up. So once again, twists and energy for the spine balances Vata dosha. So let's bring our feet relatively close together. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead, interlace your fingers, and release your pointer. And then we're going to lift up, axial extension, reach up, feel yourself lifting out of your waist, out of your hips. On an inhale, let's bend to the right. Keep the length, keep the length. And then inhale, come back to center. Exhale, other side. Inhale, reaching up. Let your head fall back. And bring your arms beside your head. Stretching the spine from the front. Then release your hands. Make sure your feet are close together because we're coming into Utkatasana after this, which is also excellent for balancing Vata dosha. Reach forward, hinging from your hips. If need be, your fingertips you can bend your knees if you need to, in order to get your fingertips on the mat. On an inhale, come halfway up and place your hands on the front of your shins and lengthen your spine, reaching from tailbone right through the crown. Exhale, forward fold. Here's where we're going to come into Utkatasana, powerful pose. So bend your knees, drop your hips, transfer your weight into your heels, swing the arms forward. Sitting as low as you can. It's called powerful pose. It's called chair, horseman's, Utkatasana in Sanskrit. Exhale, forward fold. Let your heads hang. Inhale, bring your hands onto the front of your shins. Tabletop your spine. Once again, pull your bellies in. Exhale, forward fold. Let your heads hang. Bend your knees. Sitting, moving your weight, transfer your weight into your heels. Sweep the arms in front one more time. Utkatasana, powerful pose. Exhale, forward fold. Keep your knees soft. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, reaching up and overhead. Exhale, hands in prayer. So we're going to do a few rounds of sun salutations, starting with Vata. And because Vata can be very active, and just prone to being, if they don't eat or the weather, the heat's off. And if you need to, you could open that. You good? Open maybe a window or a door. There's a hook on the outside of the door, Philip. You'll see on the back of the fence. So there's a long hook. Just look at the back of the door. It'll be off. I turned it off. It was a little bit cool in here, so I turned it on when we came in, but thank you. Okay, so starting at the front of your mats. Inhale, in place. Exhale, hands in prayer. By the way, when we feel the heat, that's a Pitta doodah, because typically I'm betting you are Kapha. mostly Kapha, and they feel the cold, but they like the cold too. Inhale, sweep the arms up. We're going to do it nice and slow, grounding for Vata. Inhale, bring your feet back together, lift up out of your waist. Exhale, reaching forward, fingertips to the floor, let your heads hang. And take a deep breath here. And then step your left leg back and drop your knee to the mat. So we're doing this slow for Vata, grounding, calming. Lift your back knee off the floor, press into your back heel. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Last week we focused on bones, and if you recall, you do have to hold your postures in order to create the tension on the tendons to force the osteoblasts to make new osteocytes in your bones. So by holding, and because the bones are typically smaller for Vata, and as we age, we become more Vata, so we want to keep our bones strong. Turn your hands forward, bring them to the floor, coming into your version of push-up or plank, whatever that is. Either your knees are off the floor or they're on the floor with your ankles crossed, reaching through the crown of your head. Now, something that's really important for recognizing which dosha is most active or perhaps out of balance is being mindful. And that's something we practice in yoga. Being mindful not to force or push ourselves too far. Release your knees, flatten the tops of your feet, leave your hands where they are, and take your hips back towards your heels. Stretching through your spine, your lower back, your shoulders, elbows, and wrists. And breathe. Leaving your hands where they are. Slowly come forward, staying nice and low. I'm sure the first time you did this, you have improved immensely, because I know it feels awkward, but excellent for spinal alignment, mobility, flexibility, suppleness, not to mention that thoracic curve in the upper back, which can become pronounced when we sit a lot with rounded shoulders and forward heads. Slide everything back behind you. Draw your fingertips to align with the tops of your shoulders. Lower your forehead. Elbows are tucked into your side body. Press your forearms down towards the floor. Flatten the tops of your feet, pressing your hips and pelvis into the mat. Slowly roll an invisible alley with your nose until you're looking right down at the mat. And on an inhale, without using your hands, lifting your head, neck, shoulders, and chest off the floor. Baby Bhujangasana. Eyes can be open or closed, rolling up towards your third eye, Ajna chakra, your seat of intuition. Intuition is a higher aspect than instinct. Instinct tells a mother goose to walk across a busy street with her little goslings because she wants to get to the other side. If she was intuitive, she might say that this isn't a good place for us to be. Dangerous. One more breath in, lifting, exhale, and lower. Curl your toes under, lift your hips up, walk your feet a few inches forward and bend your knees. Make sure all 10 fingers are pressing into the mat as well as the heel of your hand. Press your belly into your thighs, chest towards knees. ears between arms, sits bones moving towards the back of your mat, and now press your heels down into the mat. So by practicing slowly, Vata if we're mostly Vata, a very quick yoga practice will put Vata into an imbalance. Yeah, your heart will increase in rate and all that, but Vatas are already known to have a higher heart rate, higher blood pressure. So we want to balance, lower these things. Then lift your left leg up in the air, holding here in a three-legged dog, pressing your right heel to the mat. Give your head a shake. Make sure you're not putting any stress into your neck. And then looking at your left hand, swing that foot as far forward as possible. Other foot forward. Standing forward bend. Remember, this is the lazy man's traction for your lumbar spine. Stretching it out. Arms beside your ears. Pull your bellies in. Engage your thighs by lifting up on your kneecaps and sweep the arms in front, reaching up, feet apart for balance. Look up and arc back. Lengthening. Inhale, bring your feet back together. Lift out of your waist. Exhale, reaching as you fold. Let your heads hang. Bend your knees. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, reaching up. Hands in Anjali Mudra to your heart center. Okay, honoring Pitta, the fire element. Whenever you need a sip of water, please do so. So we're going to be a little bit quicker. You good? If you need to open a window, go for it. Miss Orange. It's Coral. Okay, inhaling in place. Exhale, hands in prayer. Step your feet apart. Arms up, reach up, look up, and arc back. Inhale, bring your feet back together. Lift out of your waist. Hinge from your hips. Reach forward as you fold. Let your heads hang. Step your right leg back and drop your knee to the mat. Curling your back toes under, focus your gaze. Inhale, lifting up. Pressing through your back heel. Try to keep your shoulders right over your hips. So don't reach forward in this posture. This puts a torque on your spine. Keep your body completely straight up and down. If you had a plumb line, it would go right through the center of your head and down between your legs. Turn your hands forward, spread your fingers apart, take that front leg back, coming into your version of plank. If you're holding the full plank, be sure your neck is aligned with your spine. You're not letting your head hang down, nor are you poking it up. Engage your core, pull your bellies in. Your transverse muscles, we talked about this last week too, that cylinder. Your core, transverse muscles, oblique, and the erector spinae of the spine, keeping the core strong. Protects the health of the spine. Then release your knees, flatten the tops of your feet, leave your hands where they are, and take your hips back towards your heels, stretching and releasing through the lower back, all the way up your spine. Hands are stationary. And breathe. Leaving your hands where they are, slowly come forward until you can bring your chest and your chin onto your mats. Thumbs high in the air. Slide everything behind you. Draw your fingertips back to align with the tops of your shoulders. Lower your forehead. You may wish to spread your feet a little wider apart and roll your big toes into the mat. On an inhale, roll an invisible alley with your nose, pressing your hips and pelvis into the floor, lifting up without using your hands into baby cobra. And then if you wish, press the floor away from you. Keep your shoulders down and your elbows tucked in. Eyes rolling up towards Ajna. One more breath in. Exhale, lengthen as you lower. Draw your feet back towards one another if you separated them. Curl your toes under, pressing up into downward dog. Walk your feet a few inches forward. Bend your knees. Press your belly onto your thighs, your chest onto your knees. Align your ears with your inner arms. Press your sits bones further towards the back of your mat, lengthening your spine, and then press your heels towards the mat. And breathe. Lift your right leg up in the air. Look at your right hand. Swing that foot as far forward as you can. Other leg forward. And let your upper body just hang, including your head and relaxing your neck. Arms beside your ears. Engage your thighs by lifting up on your kneecaps and then pull your bellies in to protect your lower back. Sweep the arms in front. Feet apart for balance. Look up, arc back. Inhale, bring your feet back together. Lift out of your waist. Fold forward. Let your heads hang. Bend your knees. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, hands in prayer. Okay, for Kapha balance, we need to be a little more active. So, starting at the front of your mats, come on up to the fronts of your mats. A little quicker. And be sure you're thinking about alignment. I will remind you, however. It's my job. Inhale, exhale, hands in prayer. Step your feet apart. Reach up, look up, arc back. Inhale, bring your feet back together. Lift out of your waist. Fold from your hips forward. Let your heads hang. Step your left leg back. Drop the knee to the mat. Okay, make sure your front foot's 90 degrees forward. Hands on your knee. Inhale, come up. Keep your shoulders over your hips. Got it. Sweep the arms up. Breathing, nice. Press through your back heel. That's your anchor. Turn your hands forward. Bring them to the mat. Coming into push-up plank position. And then release your knees, flatten the tops of your feet, take your hips back towards your heels, stretching everything out, and then slowly come forward, bringing your chest and your chin onto the mat as you can. Slide everything back. Fingertips aligning with tops of shoulders, forehead on the mat, elbows into the rib cage. Push your forearms down towards the mat. Flatten the tops of your feet. On an inhale, roll an invisible alley with your nose. And pressing into the mat, coming up into whatever version of cobra your lower back will enjoy today. One more breath in. Exhale, lengthen and lower. Curl your toes under, lift your hips up. Walk your feet a few inches forward. Bend your knees, press your belly onto your thighs, chest towards knees, and then press your heels towards the mat and breathe. Lift your left leg in the air, look at your left hand, swing that foot as far forward as possible. Other foot forward, let your upper body hang. Arms beside your ears, engage your thighs, sweep the arms up in front, feet apart for balance, look up, arc back. Inhale, feet together. Exhale, forward fold, bend your knees. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, hands in prayer. Okay, take a sip of water, flat out and relaxing. So when we really think about yoga, it's really not so much about how we do the poses, it's how do we feel in the poses. You know, so mindfulness is paying attention without judgment, just being aware, not reactive, just aware. Because awareness is the first step to changing anything, modifying it, and just noticing. We can go through life thinking life is a two-step dance, something happens and then we react. But life is a three-step dance. Something happens, somebody says something, we make an interpretation. This is where we need to slow down and just decide how we want to react or not to what somebody just said or did. So making sure that you're breathing into your belly. So the one thing I think I'd like to just go through just while you're lying down and breathing is just to once again express some of the strengths and weaknesses of each of the doshas. So with Vata, the strengths are you learn quickly, you're highly creative, you're a multitasker, you're kind-hearted, you're flexible, on the go, naturally slim. These are the strengths of Vata. The weaknesses of Vata are forgetful, anxious, unstable mood, easily overwhelmed, highly sensitive to the cold. You may have trouble sleeping, you have an irregular appetite, your eating patterns are also irregular. Could be prone to digestive issues, gas, poor circulation, cold hands and feet. So that's an aspect of Vata, and we can all maybe relate to some of that. With Kapha, their strengths, they're empathetic, they're caring, trusting, patient, calm, wise, happy, romantic, strong bones and joints, and a healthy immune system. But the weaknesses of the Vata dosha are prone to weight gain, slow metabolism, sluggishness, oversleeping, breathing issues like asthma and allergies, higher risk of heart disease, mucus buildup, susceptible to depression, and needs regular motivation and encouragement. Now with Pitta, known for being associated with a tenacious personality, the strengths are intelligence, purposeful, learns quickly, self-determined, masters skills easily, strong desire for success, strong natural leaders, quick metabolism, blah, blah, blah. And the weaknesses, impatience, prone to conflict, always hungry, can have mood swings when hungry, prone to acne and inflammation, and sensitive to hot temperatures. So, you know, with Vata needs to slow things down. Pitta needs more balance, and Kapha often needs to be a little more active, if I can, you know, simplify what this is. And I think that if we're honest, we can all relate to aspects of these doshas, because we all have aspects of them. Bending your legs. Place your hands beside your body with your palms facing down. With your heels aligned with your sits bones, reaching your fingertips towards your heels, lifting your shoulder blades off the floor, tucking them underneath your heart center. On an inhale, peel your spine off the floor, lifting up. And then take your right leg straight up in the air. So just your left leg is holding you up. And breathe. Again, that tension of the muscles, which puts tension on the tendons, is what helps lay down new bone within your bones. One more breath in, and lower that leg down, and come on all the way back down. And again, heels lining up with your sits bones, knees are bent, arms beside your body with your palms facing down. Press the small of your back into the floor, peel your spine off the floor, and lifting left leg up. So this exercise can be very helpful for Kapha types. A lot of the excess body fat is around the tummy area and the hip area. But very strong bones. Kapha has very strong bones. But this strengthens the hip joint. And then releasing and slowly coming all the way down. Now, some of us don't prefer to do inversions. So in that case, place your cushion or block underneath your sacrum. Those who are open to an inversion, we're going to come over into a plow pose. So we'll start with a modified plow, and we'll just see how it goes from there. So with your knees bent and your arms beside your body, you're going to swing your hips up and over behind your head. So you're just in a half shoulder stand or a modified plow. You're supporting your hips. Chin is tucked into your chest. This is excellent if you have any issues in the throat area. Sometimes, and this has to do with chakras, so I don't want to get into too much information, but every time we compress the area of the throat, we help to release stuck energy, and this can show up as a cough, a cold, or the inability or fear of speaking our truth in a way that's constructive, of course. So walking your hands perhaps a little bit further up your back towards your waist, drop your knees towards your forehead, and then take your legs wide apart, halfway over behind your head, and you may just stay right here in plow. This is a nice stretch for the spine. And never force, never push. But as your hands work their way up your spine, and in fact, last week when we were talking about bones, I talked about the body of the spine, which was the front of the spine, but the back of the spine, the posterior, the spinal processes, you may be able to feel that if your fingertips are near your spine. And then bring your legs back together, release your hands to the floor, and slowly rolling out all the way back down. Bring your knees in towards your chest, one hand on each knee, and do a little rocking from side to side. Extend your left leg down in front. Place your left hand on the outside of your right knee and take it across your body, twisting, releasing, stretching, creating space through the hips, the glutes, and releasing tension from the lower back. Inhale, come back to center, draw the other knee in, extend the right leg down in front, and place your right hand on the outside of your left knee and draw it across your body. Breathing into whatever part of your anatomy is holding on to the most tension or stress, remembering that the hips are the junk drawer of the body, where we stuff things we don't want to deal with, look at. Normal, sometimes don't have time, and then we forget about it and wonder why our hips are tight or sore. Inhale, come back to center. Place your hands either underneath the backs of your thighs to roll up or roll over onto your side. Push yourself up and bring yourself into a seated posture. So all seated postures are excellent for Pitta. I miss Pitta. Okay, so lift yourself up from behind and do a little rocking from side to side. Baddha Konasana. And then we're not going to worry about folding, but just take the soles of your feet and keep your knees as wide apart as possible. Some of you are pretty open in your thighs, and if so, I'm looking around here, then you can open your feet the way you would a book, working knees and thighs down, and breathe, lifting your chest, lengthening your spine. When we close our eyes, we go in and we feel and notice perhaps more of what's going on inside, less concerned with what's going on outside. And then send your left leg straight out in front. Keep that right leg bent. Use your hands from behind you. Now, if your knee needs some cushioning, then place your cushion or your block if it requires it. Janu Shirshasana. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Flex the foot of the straight leg. Lead with your heart. And keep your spine nice and long. So don't worry about how far over you go. Just keep your spine long, reaching through the crown of your head, from your tailbone. Earthing, grounding, reaching. Exhale, lower your hands wherever they land. Don't even try to overreach here. And then walk your hands up your leg. Unfold the bended leg. Bang out the back of the knee. And let's change. Sitting up as tall as you can. Using something underneath your knee if your knee is uncomfortable. Flex the foot of the straight leg. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Hinging from the hips, the top of the leg, reaching forward. Just hang out here, lengthen. See a straight line of energy from your tailbone right through the crown. Breathing and stretching one more time, bringing balance to Pitta. Exhale, lower your hands onto your leg, and then walk your hands back up your leg. Straighten that bent leg and bend it. And then let's come up for a couple of standing postures, folding the legs to the side, curl the toes under. Keep your knees nice and soft. Let your head hang. And then pressing the soles of your feet into the mat, slowly roll up one vertebra at a time, letting your head be the last thing to come up. Okay, we're going to do Ardha Chandrasana. We're going to work our way to that. You may want to put a block or a cushion at the front of your mats. So Ardha Chandrasana is a balanced posture, and balanced postures are actually great for all the doshas. Step your right leg back, one leg length. Make sure the foot of your front leg is 90 degrees forward, and you've got a line, invisible line, through the heel of the front foot, through the arch of the back foot. Lift up at your sternum, lower your shoulders, bend that front knee. See your big toe inside of your knee, but don't put all the weight into your front of your body. Press into the outside of your back foot. Keep your shoulders over your hips. Inhale, sweep the arms up to shoulder height. Exhale, lower your shoulders, stretch your arms. Keep pressing into the outside of your back foot and feel your arch activated. Keep that front knee pushing towards the outside of your mat. That also activates the arch of your foot. And breathe. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Now reach forward until you can't reach any further, and then just hinge and let that front arm fall inside. Rather than reaching down to the floor and losing the integrity and alignment of the posture, reach the top arm straight up. And if you feel, you can then lower that front arm and not lose the integrity of keeping your top shoulder directly above your bottom shoulder. Go for it. Now, turn your gaze and look towards the front of your mat. Lower that top arm onto your hip. Bend your front leg. Begin to transfer your weight onto your front foot as you scooch the back leg up. You're either tenting your fingertips on the floor or on your block. You're lifting your back leg off the mat. Top arm up. Ardha Chandrasana. And stepping back, coming back into triangle pose, pressing that top shoulder back. Inhale, come on all the way up. And then let's pivot on our feet, turning in the opposite direction. Front leg, 90 degrees. Your back foot's just slightly pointing forward. And you've got one leg length between your feet. Bend your front knee, look down and see your big toe inside of your knee. So your knee is tracking over your middle toes. Press into the outside of your back foot. Inhale, sweep the arms up to shoulder height. Exhale, lower your shoulders. Visualize that your shoulders are over your hips. If your front shoulders too far forward, you're losing the alignment of this posture. Palms are facing the floor, fingers are stretched and active. Inhale, straighten your front leg, then reach forward over that front toe when you can't reach any further. Hinge, your front leg is straight, back leg is straight. Excellent, reaching straight up with that top arm. Your left arm is straight up, both palms are facing in the same direction, which should be the direction of your nose. Reaching up. Energy up. This works your obliques, strengthens your core, that cylinder made up of your transverse, so engage your bellies a little bit, but you're really working your obliques, the muscles that wrap around the side of your waist, internal and external obliques. Helps with twisting, standing, everything. Okay, lower that top arm onto your hips. Look down at the floor. Bend that front leg. And transfer your weight. Tense your fingers on the floor. Lifting your top arm. If you really want to go for it, you might lift your bottom hand off the floor, so you're just balancing on your leg, but no forcing, no pushing, no judging. And then step that leg back, come back into triangle, Trikonasana. Inhale, come on up, turn sideways on your mat into 5-pointed stars. We are all stardust, we are golden. Okay, so your feet are wide apart, everybody. Toes are pointed out. Fold from your hips. Halfway, tense your fingers underneath your face. Inhale, sweep the left arm up, reaching up, stretching up, maybe looking up, but your eyes can be closed if you prefer. Exhale, float your hand down. Inhale, sweep the other arm up, reaching up and stretching up. Exhale, float it down. Let's lunge over to the left, bringing bum close to heel. Up and over, other side. Into the center, and then walk your feet in together. Have a sip of water if you need. Flat out and relaxing. Covering your eyes if you need. Everybody warm enough over here? Okay. Feel good about your efforts, please. Good work. It's a pithy topic, doshas. You can certainly go online and learn a little more about them if you're interested. Not the last time I'll be addressing it. Close your eyes. Separate the biting surfaces of the teeth. Relax the jaw. Relax your facial muscles. And let go. Letting your body be soft and heavy. Just breathe. Do not be dismayed by the brokenness in the world. All things break, and all things can be mended. Not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go and love intentionally, extravagantly, and unconditionally. The broken world waits in the darkness for the light that is in you. Savasana is one of the most important yoga postures where we honor what we have just done and give it a chance to be integrated into our bodies, our minds, and our spirits. Because the reality is, we are spiritual beings inside of a physical body, and at this time living in a physical world. Everything is energy, everything's a vibration. By taking care to be aware of how we are doing at any given time, and using yogic tools to help us reconnect to what is healthy, what is wholesome, and that which brings us peace. How can there be peace in the world when we are not peaceful? As Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Buddhist monk, said, there is no way to peace. Peace is the way. So allowing the little Buddha smile to turn the corners of your mouth up. And as you inhale, long, full, and deep with your bellies rising. And exhaling fully and completely. Inhale and stretch your arms over behind your heads. Reach and stretch, point feet far, flex and point. And then drop your arms down by your side. Keeping your eyes closed, bending your knees just a little bit, rolling over onto your side, maybe spending a moment with your lowest arm underneath your heads. Maybe even setting an intention today, or just giving thanks for this day. And when you're ready, press yourself back up into a seated posture. And if you like, please join me in chanting Om just once. Inhaling together. Om Shanti Namaste. So that quote I actually gave you was something I found that I wrote down when I was at the Vancouver airport in January of 23, which, like, wow. That's what we need, more of that stuff at the airports. And then something else that I really love is that consciousness is the new sexy. Inner peace is the new success. Kindness is the new beautiful. So there you have it. Go forth, spread joy. Feed the squirrels. I love watching them go across the street on the wires, like. And then every once in a while, one of them gets into a transformer and. Well, you know, maybe they've had enough. Said, that's it, I need to bail. I don't know. Any questions or comments are always welcome. Have a beautiful day, and luckily you'll get home before it starts to wane again.